Welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Emmett Muckles. Please visit iTunes, Stitcher, or emmettmuckles.com to listen to all the episodes for free.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. Today, my guest is Dr. Lizette Ojeda. How are you, Doc?
I'm amazing. Thank you for having me.
So, the first thing I want to ask you is, you've come from, the song "Started from the Bottom, Now We're Here"?
Uh-huh.
And, throughout some of the things that you've said, you said you came from some very meager circumstances and decided at a very young age that you were going to accomplish certain aspects and scenarios in your life. Tell me about that and how it got you through to where you are today.
Yeah. So my parents are Mexican immigrants. Neither one of them actually attended high school. So I'm not talking about graduation. I'm talking about even attending. And so early on, I realized some people have things and others don't. And I was one of those people who didn't have things and had to work twice as hard just to get half as far. And I told myself that things are going to be different with me and my future generations. And, I set my mind to being a psychologist. Actually, I called myself a heart doctor. So trying to fix people and all the mess that's holding them back from living their best life. So I go one day to my school counselor and I'm like, I want to be a heart doctor. What do I have to do to make it happen? And she looked at me and she was like, you mean a psychologist? Well, you have to go to school for a long time for that. And it's really hard. Why don't you just go to beauty school instead? A lot faster.
That was cold.
Uh-huh. And the good thing is I'm a little stubborn by nature. So I decided that I was going to show her otherwise and do it my way with or without her help. So I actually decided to go to the school, the community college right down the street, and I ended up registering there, and I learned about this whole thing called grants. And I'm like, well, it's about time somebody paid me to go to school, so do this. And I remember Monday morning, 8 a.m. was a psychology class, and that professor took me under her wing, and she saw potential in me, and she's like, you know what? Don't stop here. Go get your bachelor's. And then I went to my bachelor's, and same thing. They're like, you know what? Don't stop here. Go get your master's and PhD. And the rest is history. I became a tenured psychology professor, which pretty much means I survived 6 years of publish or perish, and really being scrutinized for my ability to make an impact in the psychology field. And unfortunately, there are only 2% of Latinas who achieve that status. After that, I wanted to figure out what's next. Like, okay, I reached this goal. What else can I do? And that's when I started my business as a psychologist and a career strategist. So my specialty with that is applying the research and the teaching from my academic side into the real world. So helping women who feel like they could be having more out of their career in life actually make it happen. Figure out what are their options, what's in their way, and how do we fix all that? So that's where I'm at today.
So
I'm doing those things.
So I want to ask you another question too regarding your speaking. So how did the speaking come about to where you began to be in the public eye and speaking at events?
Yeah, so I've been speaking at national conferences talking about my researching, and I'm like, you know what? Let me figure out how I can apply this in the real world. Um, and so there was a workshop on imposter syndrome, and they needed a speaker, and I'm like, yeah, I can come and speak on that. A lot of times women who are really successful are the ones that doubt themselves the most, oftentimes because they're surrounded by other successful people and they don't get to see their failures. They just have a front row seat to their successes, but they don't have a backstage pass their failures.
Wait, you have to explain. You have to explain that for me again. What do you mean a backseat for their failures?
Okay, so they have a front row seat to their performance, to everything that's going well, all their successes, but they don't have a backstage pass to all the hardships, to all the times that they've failed, to all the rejections. They don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And so when they just see what they see on social media, all the good stuff, they start to compare themselves.
So you're saying, what the outside world sees and what the outside world perceives, it doesn't necessarily reflect what's going on internally with these individuals.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
That's a heavy. That's really heavy. So
Yeah.
So with that, do you see this often? Has that come about where that has become a real thing, or someone comes up to you and says, that is me. The world is telling me I am awesome, but inside, I just don't feel like I measure up to what this perception of my life is.
Yes. So a lot of times people are like, you know what? I'm afraid that they're going to find out that they made a mistake by hiring me. Maybe they just selected me because I was they needed to fill quota. And it's not because of what I know and all the skills that I have with me that are indispensable and incomparable. So that's not uncommon for a lot of, especially when they're in an industry where they're underrepresented, where there aren't a lot of people who look like.
So do you work with other minorities as well, or is it just across the board with women in general and possibly men too?
Okay, it's really interesting. I'm actually nationally recognized for my research and work on with men and masculinity. So helping them decrease the machismo and feel more satisfied with their life without feeling like the pressure that they have to live up to societal expectations of what it means to be a man. So I empower people in very different ways. And so that's with men. And with women, I'm really all about helping all women move up and step up with confidence in their zone of brilliance. I, as a Latina, attract a lot of other women who are either the first in their family to reach the levels of success that they have, or are the only, right? And they're feeling isolated, or having all this mind gunk going on that's holding them back from stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, that's a big thing. So particularly if you come from a minority dominant neighborhood, that culture seems to permeate your psyche. And if someone wants to leave that or chooses a different path, sometimes they can be shunned, maybe not overtly, but they feel this draw, like, I'm letting some people down, even though I'm doing really great things. So is that part of the psychology that you're dealing with?
Yeah, this push and pull between being true to your community and being a sellout.
I was about to just say, keeping it real.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that going on, oftentimes, about what it means to be true to your community, but also to take things to a different level often require you to stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
And be in environments and places and spaces where historically you are not represented.
Yeah, well, I can attest to that one. You do a lot of work, and you talk about business, and one of the main things that it seems that you help with is helping them to make the right decisions for career choices. And in this day and age, we're telling kids, go to college, go to college, go to college, go to college. But college is not really for everyone. And sometimes there's a trade or something else. So do you pull all those resources together to help people, first of all, find their want, find their need internally, and then identify the path and go that route?
Yes. So the first place that I start with people when they're trying to figure out what do I do with my life is I have them get really clear on what they want and why they want it.
Yeah.
What is their vision? How do they want to live their life? How do they want to feel? Who do they want to become? What's a typical day like for them? And what path is going to help them get there? One that fits for them, because there are several paths to the same destination. Like, you don't have to go get an MBA to build a business. Okay. If you did, great. That's fine. But if you didn't, that doesn't mean that door is closed to you.
What's really, I'm not going to say odd, it's actually obvious to me because you come from a Latina background. And these are some of the most industrious people on the planet who start businesses. I mean, literally start with nothing and build generational wealth and generational foundations for themselves and their families. So did some of your outgrowing come from that?
Yeah. Yes. And it's interesting. Like, my family knows how to hustle, and it's a blessing and a curse.
Wait. Say it again. Say that word, the H word.
Hustle.
Oh my God. That's my favorite word. That is literally, as a matter of fact, I have a t-shirt that says hustle mode on. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You just got me all excited when you said hustle.
No, I'm excited too. I mean, as you can tell, I'd like to do a lot of things. I mean, I'm a professor, I'm a psychologist, I'm a career strategist. But that also means that I work a lot because I know how to hustle. And that's what I was raised to do. So it does have not flaws. It's not setbacks.
But you
it's
know,
downsides.
yeah, but you know what hustle means to me? And this is actually true, and anybody can take this to heart. Hustle means being an opportunist who is willing to take action.
Mm.
It is simply that, because there's a lot of opportunities for people out here, and only people who know who are into the, getting what they need to get, or the hustle game, will understand that. You see an opportunity and you look and you say, I think I can handle that. I think I can captivate that. So, I commend you, and I commend your family for even instilling that principle within you so that you can help others. But when it comes to career moves, it's not oftentimes so straightforward nowadays, because now, oftentimes people will see a path and they will go test it out, and it will resonate with them for a while, and then it doesn't. And then there's feeling unfulfilled, they're feeling less than, and they're looking for something else. Do you often have people coming to you saying, look, I have a great career, but I hate it?
Yes. And what I tell people is that it's not good enough to be good at what you do. You've got to love it too. And it's not good enough to like something. You've got to be good at it too. And you not only have to be good at it, you have to like it. But if you're in business, people want what you're having, what you're selling.
Yeah.
You need all three.
Yeah. And as a man of color, I am always, touting the fact that I have to be 130%, particularly in the corporate world. I have to be 130% better. Or I have to be at 130% where someone else can be at 99 or 100% or even 60%, just to fare in the waters of this America that we're in. And it's not, I don't take it as a negative. I just take it as an is. So do you find people who are feeling like they're under the gun, they're kind of starting the game behind the start line versus at the start line?
Yeah. And a lot of times people feel like they have to work twice as hard just to get half as far. There's this added unnecessary stress. You know, you're not only trying to navigate the workforce, a business, an industry, but now you have that added annoying voice in your head that's hyper vigilant, hyper aware, trying to like pay attention and make sure you're not, contributing to us. People making assumptions or like saying things the wrong way, because then they're going to start thinking about you differently. Like, it's just a whole lot of unnecessary extra stress that you have to carry with you because of people's assumptions about who you are just based on where you come from.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So when people meet you, where do they usually come from? How do they find you? Is it books? Is it webinars? Is it workshops? Is it your website? How do people like, oh, she's the one for me. I know she can help me.
Well, I have done a little bit of everything. Yeah, I know. I like to do all the things. Hashtag all the things. Because that's how I figure out what works and what doesn't.
Oh, that was so beautiful what you said. That was so poignant. I can't even spotlight it enough, because some people think that things are just going to fall in their laps. And sometimes you have to go out and just try things just to know what you like.
Yeah. And just because it works for somebody else doesn't mean it'll work for you. So, yeah. So I really like interacting with people one-on-one. So oftentimes I'll do live streams where I get to talk to people. Or I'll go do speaking engagements where I get to talk to people afterward, and then they end up wanting to learn more about how I can help them. And so the rest is history. So a little bit of both online and offline.
One of the things that is most prevalent, how can we really, really get down to boost our own self-confidence and what we bring to the table? This is what I have, and be confident in saying, look, I'm going to present this to you. I know it's good works. Try me out.
Okay, this is what I tell people, and it's so simple, but it's so powerful. Figure out what people come to you for. That seems so simple and so obvious, but it is that way to you.
Oh my goodness, you made that so obvious for my own self just in that moment.
Like, are you familiar with the Strengths Finder?
No, I'm not.
Okay, it tells you what like your top strengths are out of like a whole list. And for a long time, I hated that my number one strength was empathy. I'm like, what is this empathy? I need something strategic. I need something concrete. None of this fluffy stuff. And then I met a whole bunch of people who had a hard time connecting with their audience, connecting with their target market, connecting with people in general. And then that's when I realized, hey, this is actually something that I'm really good at that not a lot of people know how to do, because you got to be good with people to get that next level job, to get that client, to close that sale. And if you can't empathize with what the other person needs, then the conversation is over.
That is so true. That is absolutely true, because a lot of times people go into a conversation or relationship thinking about themselves first versus how can they unselfishly give to someone that will ultimately benefit themselves.
Yeah, and empathy is all about being able to understand what somebody else is feeling, where they're coming from, and to let them know, hey, I hear you and I feel you.
So with that, you've talked about some of the things that you can move on and understanding yourself. How do you get people to understand their what? What they do, what they are, and what they want?
So a lot of times we keep a lot of our ideas in our head, and that keeping them there makes us really overwhelmed and confused because there's no order to it. Your brain doesn't know how to organize all these thoughts. So what I suggest is as simple as writing these things down, and I have an acronym. It's called VIPs. so that you feel like a VIP. And that's just so people can remember this little psychology. But basically, is write down your vision. What do you want and why do you want it? Identity. Who are you? How do you want to show up in your work, in your business, in your life? What do you want to be known for? What mark do you want to leave on this earth? Your passion. What do you love to do and what don't you want to do? So that you can figure out what's the right career business for you that honors that. And then your strengths. What are you good at? What are your skills? What makes you incomparable, indispensable, irreplaceable? How can you position yourself as the obvious choice to for that job position, for that client looking to hire someone?
Awesome. Now, I want to diverge a little bit here because I want to ask you something about the National Speakers Association, or NSA, because you're the first guest that I can actually sit down and talk to about it because you're a member of the NSA. How did you join the NSA and what did that do for you?
Okay, so I'm a professional member of the NSA and I just joined like 2 months ago. Be honest. But you know what? It's been amazing. I actually went to Phoenix for a brand. It's called Brand Lab for speakers. And I met amazing speakers. And I learned more about how I can establish my brand as a speaker expert on this topic of career. So it's been amazing. Honestly, it's one of the best organizations I've ever been a part of because people are genuinely caring people, and they're there to help you with whatever resources they can help you with. So it's been amazing so far, but I'm a newbie.
That's fine. I mean, you're the first person that I've actually seen that has the NSA brand on their website. And what's your website, by the way, so that everybody will know where to go?
It's drlizette.com, DRLIZETTE.
Do you have a Facebook group?
I have a Facebook page and a Facebook profile where you can find me and friend me.
I got it. So you want one-on-one. You're not into the big group thing. You want personalized interaction with whoever is looking to seek your help.
For now, that's what makes my heart sing. And that's how I can make the biggest impact, when I can pay special attention to one person at a time.
I'm going to go back now. I like to jump around a little bit. So we talked about your VIPs, which is vision, identity, passion, and skills. That's for clarification so that people understand what they need to write down. So that vision, get your identity together, figure out what your passion are and what you're good at. That's what she was talking about with the skills. And from that, how can people align themselves to build a business for themselves instead of going out and looking for a job?
So when you figure out what you want your business to be able to do for you, because it's not easy. So you got to be clear on why you're doing it in the first place. For when you hit some bumps on the road, you stay at it. So being clear on what it's going to do for you. What do you want it to do for you? What area do you want to focus on that is your low-hanging fruit in terms of skills? So you don't have to go and learn, become an expert in Excel, for example, if that's not your thing. Okay. And you also have to enjoy what you're doing. So you got to be good at it and enjoy what you're doing. And then figure out, is there a market for it? Is it something that people actually want? Do you solve a problem? And how do you solve it in a way that is unique from all the other noise out there?
Awesome. So awesome. So I got a personal question for you. How did you meet your husband?
Okay, I will tell you, but you have to keep it between you and me.
You and me and probably like 17,000 other people.
Craigslist.
Get out of here.
I'm not lying.
No kidding.
I'm for real.
So you went the most frugal dating app there is. That's awesome.
Yep.
And you got 2 beautiful babies.
3.
3. Oh, you guys been doing some work, huh? Well, give him my love when you see him.
Thank you.
If you say Emmett said, "What's up, brother?" All right, so there's one other thing here. The most common money mindset blocks entrepreneurs experience. How can they overcome them?
Ooh, that's a good one. Oh my gosh, I could spend all day on that one.
Well, I'll give you 15 minutes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, money blocks. Okay. You have to understand your money story. Like, for example, and Craigslist is not a reflection of this. But one of the things that I often hear people is wanting to do all the things themselves. And I'm like, you need to outsource. And they're like, but that's me spending money. And I'm like, okay, how much are you worth an hour? Let's just do some math here. It's not worth it for you to go and clean your own house. Hire somebody to help you with that so you can go focus on money making activities and stop, for the love of God, playing on Canva. So that's one money mindset thing that I will invest when I have this much money made. Well, how are you going to make that money if you don't invest to help you get there faster?
Yeah. And today there are some excellent tools to help you to manage your time. One of my biggest, and this is not a plug, but I use Calendly.com to book all my guests because I used to do all these massive follow-ups. Like I would send a text, wait for a while, they would send a text back, then I would send one, or emails back and forth, just trying to set up a date and time to have someone on the show versus now I show an interest and I say, if you want to book, here's my Calendly link that shows you when I'm available to have it to record the podcast. And it works out great. And I actually found that when I was at, I believe, Podcast Movement and some other guests, it kept coming up in my life. One of the things that for myself that you were talking about your time, and this is a different take on it. Sometimes the work that I do is part of the meditation. For instance, when I edit my podcast, it's a meditation for me. It separates me from the world, and I'm sitting here with whoever my guest is, and I'm going over all the things and taking out the little stuff and putting the music in it. And when I'm done, there's 2 facts to it. Like this talking between you and I is such a great feeling. Just sharing the energy and knowing that it's going to help someone out there. Someone's going to call you and say, hey, I heard about you on the Billionaire Lifestyle podcast. I want to get some help. So that's one of the aspects. But then after producing something that someone can consume is such an awesome feeling. And thank you for being on the show, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. And I think what you said is key. You enjoy it. And that's key. If you're going to do it, then you have to enjoy it. But if you don't enjoy it, then figure out who can do it for you and who's going to do it better. Because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to give it your all anyway.
That is absolutely true. So let's go back. Let's go back in time. Let's go back to when you were 19 years old, which wasn't that long ago, so you can remember this clearly. And you're sitting on your couch watching TV. No one's in the house with you. You're just relaxing, having a good time with yourself. And the doorbell rings and you go, who could that be? And you get up, walk to the door, and you open the door, and there is a very young Lizette. She's 19, you're the age you are now, and she says, hey, what do you have for me? What advice do you have? So you're basically your own angel, and you're imparting wisdom for this young person to move into the world. What would you tell them?
Oh, wow. I would say act as if, and then you will. And what I mean by that is, if you are not feeling confident, act as if, and then you will. because your brain will respond to how you are showing up. Pull your shoulders back. Walk in there with confidence as if you are all that and a bag of organic chips.
You must have been to Whole Foods, haven't you?
And then it's that relationship between behaviors and thoughts and feelings. When you act it, you will start to believe it and you will start to feel it. So if you're scared, just fake it till you make it. Just go out there and take action.
Awesome.
Don't hold back.
That is so awesome. So the last question, or one of the questions I want to ask you is, are you having any workshops or online items that people can participate?
I have a freebie that I can share. It's the ultimate guide to figure out what you want.
Really?
Yes.
And where do people find that?
You can go to my website.
All right. Any special codes or anything, or just sign up?
Just sign up, and that's where you'll get it. You'll get me in your inbox with some other goodies.
Awesome. Let's get your information. So give me everywhere that the audience can reach you who are looking for some advice as far as their career or going into entrepreneurship, or they just want to build some confidence and find out their what and why.
Yeah, so I like to hang out on Facebook. You can find me there. Dr. Lizette is my page, or send me a friend request. Lizette Ojeda is how you can find me.
You have to spell that because, especially like I got your name wrong.
Yeah, it's LIZETTEOJEDA.
All right.
And I'm also on LinkedIn for the more professional side of me.
Yeah, LinkedIn is such a different, and it's actually coming forward a little bit. I'm starting to like it more than I like Facebook.
Yeah.
Because people are just a little bit better on Facebook. Oh, my goodness. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. I know we've had some scheduling issues, and I'm so happy that I was able to have you on the show, and it's been so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, remember this. I always go through it because I think it's so very important that you spend time with yourself. I mean, literally alone, like close the bathroom door after you get out the shower, just hang out in the mirror and study the miracle that is you. I want to try something different here. I've told you about the two galaxies that are right, either side of your nose, and how you should respect the other galaxies that you come across with your daily practice and treat them with respect. But I want you to close your eyes. If you're driving, don't do that. But at some point, close your eyes, and I want you to picture a big bright light at the top of your head. I want you to picture a big bright light in the middle of your forehead. I want you to picture a big bright light at your throat. I want you to picture another one at your heart. Go about 4 inches down, picture another one there. Go about 4 more inches down, picture one there. And then where you create life, picture one there. Those are your chakras. All of those have a special meaning, and they're energy centers for you. And I want you to see those lights every day and everywhere you go, and I want you to let them shine, particularly the one in your heart, because the one in your heart will communicate with the universe, and it will go through your head, that one in your head, to connect with the universe. Until next time, be peaceful, be loving, and treat others like you want to be treated justly. Until next time, peace. Thank you.